down, right, f of x. We have an equals, don't forget your equal sign. We have an a value. And guys, I'm just going to use the word cosine as a template, but we could plug in any trig function right there. So that's all the stuff that entails cosine, sine, tangent, everything. H and K is the same thing that y'all have been dealing with since y'all were freshmen. Sideways and up and down movement. This V value is a horizontal stretch or shrink. This A value is a vertical stretch or shrink, but they have different names because they're waves. They're actual waves. So this A value is called an amplitude. And the amplitude is how high and how low the waves are. The highest and the lowest point. And then let's talk about B. B is a horizontal stretch or shrink, which means the waves can be really long or really tiny. So the B value affects the period. So the period, which is usually 2 pi on a unit circle, is going to be affected by the B value. And the B value is so weird, guys. You have to multiply by the reciprocal of the B value. That's going to give you the period. Remember, the plane period is 2 pi. Write that down. Your default period is always 2 pi. But you always take 2 pi and you multiply it by 1 over b. So 2 pi period times 1 over b is going to give you the new period. So these are actual steps to graph it. Guys, I'm not talking about H and K today. I'm not talking about that at all. We'll talk about it tomorrow. So the amplitude, you totally have to know the amplitude. That's how high and how low your waves are. The B value, you're going to grab the reciprocal of the B value. You're always going to multiply by 2 pi. That's going to give you the brand new period for the equation. After that, you take your period and you literally multiply by 1/4 because that's the tick marks on the x-axis. Why is it 1/4? Why do we cut it in fourths? Because there's 4 critical pieces of a unit circle. Left, right, top, bottom. That's 4 critical pieces. And then after that, so let's say this is step 1. This is step 2. This is step 3. 4 is the most important step. Sketch the shape right where it starts. The starting value for pi and the starting value for cosine or sine. We'll call it the y value because it is going to be on a coordinate grid. All right, let's go ahead and knock out 4 examples. Here is your first example right here. If you could please write f of x equals, and that is going to be 3 sine, and then put 4x on the inside. All right, so we're going to graph a couple of sine functions and a couple of cosine functions, and then we're going to call it quits. All right, so your steps, they're right up here. The first thing is to always find the a value. So easy. It's just the number after the equal sign. So the a value, the amplitude of this graph is 3. That means from the middle of the graph, the waves are 3 places above the middle and 3 places below the middle. Never higher, never lower. After that, we're going to find the period. Remember, to find the period, you're going to take our default, which is 2 pi, and you're going to multiply it by the reciprocal of the b value. The b value is next to x. And let's just pause for a minute. This b value. Guys, if you know we really want the b value to be on the outside. We really do. If there's not a plus or minus, it's okay. that it's on the inside. But if there's a plus or minus with an H value, we're going to have to factor that out. We'll save that for tomorrow. You're not going to have any HK today, so the B value is on the inside. That's okay, but we do need to flip it upside down. So we know the period for this function is 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. So it's not going to take a full 2 pi, it's only pi over 2. Let's cut that pi over 2 into fourths, because that's going to be our tick marks on our x-axis. So all of our tick marks on the x-axis are going to be pi over 8 places away from each other. So these are our tick marks. Last but most important, draw the shape, draw where it starts. This is a sine graph. Sine starts in the middle, then goes up, then goes down, then stops in the middle. Okay, so it always starts at 0 pi, and then, hold on a moment. If it always starts in the middle and it has an amplitude of 3, that means it's 3 above and 3 below. So it is going to start at 0 pi in the middle, which is 0. All right, let's sketch this. Okay, so I'm going to say my origin is like starting right here. I know I have an amplitude of 3. That means 3 places high, 3 places low. So if that's the origin, 1, 2, 3. Here's the ceiling, and the ceiling has to be drawn with a horizontal line. Here's the floor. Here's the lowest that sine wave is going to get. So that's my y-axis. My x-axis is all positive values, so I'm just focusing on the right side of the x-axis. All right, so this is going to start at 0 pi, which is right here. I'm going to write 0 pi. And then it's going to end at 2 pi, which is over here somewhere. However, we have to label our tick marks. And it's always 4 tick marks after the starting point, because top, bottom, left, right, 4 major components. And y'all can just eyeball 4 tick marks on however long you drew your x-axis. So I'm going to try my best to space this out. One, two, three, 4. They're not perfect, but that's okay because I'm going to label them perfect. These tick marks are pi over 8 away from each other. So this is 0 pi over 8. This is 1 pi over 8. This is 2 pi over 8, but we have to simplify everything in here. So you can't write 2 pi over 8. You have to simplify it. This is pi over 4. All right, 0 over 8, 1 over 8, 2 over 8. This is 3 pi over 8. This is 4 pi over 8, which is pi over 2. So we just knocked out step 3 on the graph. Now all you got to do is remind yourself where it starts. You wrote where it starts. It starts at the origin. And then you just have to follow the shape. So it starts at the origin, which means the next tick mark is the highest that it ever goes. Now it's going to change directions. When it changes directions, it has to go through the middle. So here's the middle. And remember, it's going down, so here's the lowest it gets. It's changing directions, so it has to go through the middle. So that's the sine graph. So connect your dots, and guys, do draw little tails because it does go on forever. It does continue to go in the same pattern.